Training camp is in its second week. The pads have come out, but so have the injuries. We'll talk about what we've seen in training camp so far, along with other Eagles related news. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right into it. What's up, y'all, and welcome to season 3 of Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network, the best network for all of your Philadelphia sports needs. This is your host, Michael Roscoe. All right, y'all, before we get into training camp talks from this past week, let's recap a few events that have occurred since our last episode. First things first, 2 Philadelphia Eagles joined the 99 Club. For those unfamiliar, this represents the highest possible rating an NFL player can receive in the Madden NFL video games. And for Madden 26, Eagles running back Saquon Barkley and right tackle Lane Johnson are 2 of only 7 players across the league to receive this 99 rating. The other 5 include quarterbacks Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, defensive end Myles Garrett, and wide receivers Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. While a lot of people may just see this as video game stuff or don't even know what any of this means, it may not mean anything to them. But a lot of players across the league take these Madden ratings to heart, and it shows across social media. And for not 1 but 2 Eagles to be in the 99 Club is definitely something special. So congrats to Saquon and Lane for their achievements, and flex on everyone with them 99 Club chains. In other news, another Eagle has landed on the NFL's top 100 players list so far, and apparently for a lot of people, this came as a surprise. So, last week I'd posted a clip from my last episode on TikTok, where I spoke about the other potential Eagle players that I thought would be making the list next after it was announced that Jordan Mailata had landed at number 69, with one of those players being Eagles cornerback Cooper DeJean. When that was posted, I had several comments saying that it'd be crazy to think Coop would make the list, or saying stuff like, nah bro, he ain't making the list. Welp, they were wrong, as Cooper DeJean has found himself at number 60 on this year's list. And to say that he was pleasantly surprised may be an understatement, because when he found out he made the list, he had said, quote, "That's pretty cool." Classic Cooper answer. Honestly, I don't know why people are surprised by this. Maybe it was because he was a rookie or something like that. But I mean, shit, Cooper DeJean took the league by storm last year, obviously making a good name for himself already if he's making the top 100 list going into his second year. From the pick 6 off Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl to the dump tackle on Derrick Henry, diagnosing and making plays on incredible players such as Jamar Chase, and being listed as the league's top nickel corner according to PFF, this and other achievements made it, at least to me, not such a far-fetched concept that he would make this list. Some people were like, oh, he's only had 1 interception all season, or this doesn't make sense. And I'm just like, fucking how, y'all? This top 100 list is developed by active players from the league. You know, the dudes who go against each other, in a regular basis, week after week. And a lot of players have already been vocal about DeJean's athleticism and what he's brought to the game in his rookie season. In his first year, including the postseason, DeJean had 69 total tackles, 1/2 of a sack, 6 pass deflections, 1 forced fumble, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 interception, and 1 touchdown. And he didn't even become a starter until week 6. Those are pretty good stats for a rookie who only started for 2/3 of the regular season. And this one also, this is a wild stat. DeJean allowed an average of less than 1 yard, 0.8 yards to be exact, per coverage snap throughout the regular season. That is the fourth fewest amongst all league slot corners and the fewest by a rookie corner over the past 4 seasons. So it's easy to see how players think he's up there as one of the top players of the league already. But anyway, congrats to Coop on being recognized as one of the 100 best players in the league by his peers, and I'm hoping that by this time next year, he moves up on that list. And finally, now, this next bit of news, it isn't directly related to the Eagles, but there is some correlation to them. So, the Tennessee Titans just waived/injured wide receiver Treylon Burks after fracturing his collarbone last weekend. For those who don't know who this is or how it applies to the Eagles at all, Treylon Burks was drafted with the 18th overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. That pick was given to them by the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for All-Pro wide receiver and Eagles receiver number 1, A.J. Brown. The Titans drafted Burks with the hope and intent of him becoming like an A.J. Brown 2.0, but he came nowhere near close to that level. In his 3 seasons with the Titans, Burks had 53 total catches for just under 700 yards and 1 touchdown. This has got to be one of the best trades for the Eagles and possibly the worst trade in Tennessee Titans history. To put into perspective, A.J. Brown has had more Super Bowl appearances than Burks had touchdowns. Yeah, you heard that right. Since joining the Eagles, A.J. Brown has averaged 87 catches for over 1,300 yards and a little over 8 touchdowns per season. AJ's worst season with the Birds was like 5 to 6 times better than Burks' best season. Now, I do feel bad about his waiving from the Titans due to an injury. That's not fun for any player, especially when you remember that last season, Burks had only played 5 games before suffering a season-ending injury on another part of his body. I can't remember what it was. But talking about this is in no way, shape, or form trying to bring down Treylon Burks or his career. It's interesting how this trade has come full circle for both teams, and it just continues to show how much of a fucking genius our GM Howie Roseman is. With this incident, this will probably go down as one of the most significant or notable trades in modern NFL history. All right, y'all, let's talk training camp, our main topic of the night. So, we're just over a full calendar week since the start of summer training camp, with the first day of padded practice occurring earlier this week on Tuesday. A lot has happened over these couple weeks, but in this episode, I'm going to present some questions along with some answers to a few of those topics that I think are the most notable of camp so far. Okay, so the first question, should we be worried about injuries? This first topic related to training camp is the injury bug that has made its way to the Birds. So far, we've seen players like Jalen Carter, Zach Bond, Devontae Smith, Nolan Smith, Cam Jurgens, Andrew Makuba, and more miss practice reps due to a variety of different injury-related reasons. But personally, I don't think there's anything too drastic to worry about at this moment. We've seen Jalen Carter, Jihad Campbell, and Cam Jurgens amongst those who went from did not participate to getting limited reps, and with other players such as Devontae Smith and Zach Bond dealing with mild sounding injuries such as tightness and contusions. However, not all are as fortunate, such as wide receiver Terrace Marshall dealing with a leg injury in which he could not finish practice and had to go into the medical tent. You have edge rusher Nolan Smith with a concussion somehow, even though they weren't hitting. So I wonder how that occurred. But anyway, and then you had wide receiver Danny Gray, who was actually waived from the team with an injury designation on Tuesday, with the Birds re-signing wide receiver Ife Adai as his camp replacement. Overall, though, I don't think there's any reason to freak out right now. Only when it's actually time to freak out will we do that. So far, nothing sounds extensive, and the teams and players are taking these injuries with the appropriate caution. So hopefully, all these injuries are just mild and allow for quick recovery times. Compared to what we've seen from other teams such as the Chiefs or the Cowboys, where players are getting notably hurt left and right, I think our birds at this point are in good hands. All right, next question and topic. Will Moro Ojomo become the next Milton Williams? Since the beginning of training camp, all the things I've heard about defensive tackle Moro Ojomo being a dominant force on this defensive line. It took a little bit for Milton Williams to get to the powerhouse that he was during the 2024 season, slowly getting better each season since he was drafted back in 2021. But now, heading into his third year, the former 249th overall pick from the 2023 draft class could be the Eagles' next Milton Williams. Ojomo has gotten significant shoutouts from his teammates on both sides of the ball, gotten more reps with the first team, with him even saying, quote, "I'm getting more reps than I'm used to." Plus, he's getting sacks during the 11 versus 11 because they actually can't hit or tackle each other just yet. And this is all against the first team O line. And with that, that says something special about how he could become this season. So I'm not expecting Ojomo to be the next Milton Williams right away, but I could definitely see it happening sooner rather than later. All right, moving on to our third topic in question. What is going on with these defensive position battles? With Tyler Steen damn near cementing his place as the starting right guard, it's our defense now that holds the majority of the position battles. And that is cornerback 2 opposite of Quinyon Mitchell, starting linebacker until Nakobe Dean returns, and a safety opposite of Reed Blankenship. Let's start with the corner 2. It's been obvious with the departure of Darius Slay in free agency that we're going to have a new starting corner opposite of Quinyon Mitchell this season. And for a while, a lot of people, including myself, have been predicting that third year corner Keely Ringo out of Georgia would be the day one starter. The Eagles had also signed cornerback Adoree Jackson from the Giants in free agency, who has been in competition with Ringo throughout OTAs and camp. However, this battle has not gone in the direction that I thought it would. It seems like every other day, Ringo's showing a better day, then it's Adoree Jackson, then it's back to Ringo, then back to Jackson, and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying it's all like really good days or really shitty days out of both of them. It's like good days, mid days, and bad days. But there's not any consistency amongst either one of them between good, mid, and bad days. Personally, though, I still think Keely Ringo ends up the starter week one, pending some outrageous free agent signing or whatever. But I would have thought that there would have been a clearer answer by now as to who is likely going to be that starting CB2. So I expect to see both of them in preseason games taking the majority of snaps because at the end of the day, Fangio and company got to make a decision. Is there going to be a single starter, or are they going to take this CB2 role and turn it into more of a rotational thing this year like they do with the defensive line? I'm just not sure what that's going to look like. But for the most part, I still expect to see Keely Ringo start out week one. All right, now let's talk about the linebackers. Now, it's unsure when exactly Nakobe Dean will be back in the starting lineup, so now we have a battle between Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and rookie Jihad Campbell. Now, at first, it had looked like Trotter was going to be the week one starter as Campbell was recovering from his injury, and he was originally predicted to not even be on the field until mid to late August. However, Campbell hit the field much earlier than anticipated, and while it may be in a limited role for the time being, he's looked really good so far. A couple mistakes here and there, but who hasn't? Otherwise, he's been really, really good so far. But at the same time, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. isn't making it easy or going down without a fight. It's unsure when Campbell will upgrade from being limited to a full participant. But if it's before the preseason game and he's able to go full contact, I wouldn't be surprised if Campbell's lined up next to Bond come week one. And finally, there is the safety battle. For a while, Sidney Brown and Andrew Makuba had been rotating pretty evenly with the first team. According to defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, Sidney Brown has been getting a lot better. However, his main area of criticism still tends to be like this bull in a china shop type of label, where he's a great player with great speed and athleticism, but it seems like he cannot always control himself to the point where he misses a crucial play. Then you have Andrew Makuba, who has been doing well in camp so far as well. However, he had a collision in a practice earlier in the week that created an unspecified shoulder injury, and he did not practice again on Tuesday. And because of that, some people have called his size into question. If Makuba's injury is significant enough to cause some missed time, and or if Sidney Brown isn't ready yet, we've got to bite the bullet and sign Justin Simmons or another safety, but a lot of people have been saying Justin Simmons, so that's who I think of first. And with him, he wants that ring. He's probably not in a place to money chase if he hasn't been signed this close to preseason, which to some people is a concern if a player is still unsigned the closer it is to the preseason games. But at this rate, we're going to need depth at the position as a whole. You cannot have only 4 rostered safeties when you have to put 2 on the field and one of your options is injured. There has been some talk of Cooper DeJean at safety, but that's only in base defense, and I got to imagine they're not going to run it as often as they will a nickel-based defense. And I hope something is figured out at safety, whether that be a free agent signing or we see a dramatic jump from Sidney Brown. I don't know, but we just have to see something. All right, our final training camp question and topic for this week's episode is, should we worry about the recent offensive struggles in camp so far? The offense has had its good days at the beginning of camp, but they've also had their struggles. In a tweet from Eagles reporter Elliot Shore-Park, he had stated, quote, "The defense won Monday and Tuesday, and the offense hasn't looked sharp compared to the first 2 days." Additionally, he notes struggles with receivers getting open, reserve receivers like Johnny Wilson struggling, the defense getting into the backfield, and other problems for the offense. However, I don't think these are really huge problems for multiple reasons. First off, the offense is under a brand new coordinator yet again, while the defense retains theirs, so there's going to be a learning curve from that alone. Second, you have injuries that create limitations or prevent players from completely participating, such as Devontae Smith and Cam Jurgens, 2 pretty important people in this offense, if I do say so myself. Third, and this might not be an excuse for some people, but it's hot as fuck outside, y'all. It was so hot on Tuesday with a real field temp of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a little over 37 degrees Celsius for my out of USA listeners, that they had to move practice up an hour to 9 a.m. due to heat concerns. Fourth, the offense was off to a good start within the first few days, so expectations, I think, got set a little higher than I think they should have been. So when anything looks less than that, it might be seen as a problem. Yet despite that, it's been reported that even with these areas of need, Hurts' passing accuracy has been on point. His decision making has been pretty clear, and he has not let frustration get to him or cause him to make dumb mistakes. Like, for example, Shore Park reported that he's making good decisions under pressure, such as throwing the ball away, running with it, or hitting a different receiver than the initial target for that play. Also, apparently, Hurts has made the most pass attempts this camp out of all of his previous Eagles training camps so far. So that's good to see that despite having a strong run game that can rely on Saquon Barkley and the legs of Jalen Hurts, that they're working on diversification of plays and working more so on the pass game. At the end of the day, It's only been 5 days. I don't expect flawlessness, and I can understand the learning curve that comes with a new offensive coordinator. The offense has retained most of their original 2024 season players, so it's not like they're lacking in talent. To simplify everything, no. At this point, I don't think there are any causes for alarm for our for our offense in camp so far. I think the same thing too about the defensive side of the ball from an overall picture. Our team is leaving the past behind. They're focused on not falling victim to the Super Bowl hangover and putting in the hard work to be the best of the best, even with the elements. Jalen Hurts, after Tuesday's practice, mentioned that, quote, fatigue makes cowards out of all of us when asked about the offense. And this is no surprise to me. I know this man speaks in motivational quotes, but I like the accountability that his words present. He mentioned today that it was a strong run offense with some struggles with the passing game, something he's often criticized for in the media. And he's okay with admitting that because he does not give a fuck about what people say. All he wants to do is bring another chip to the city of brotherly love. All right, y'all, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for joining so much. Don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok by searching at Second and 15. That's 2NDAND15, or by the full name Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast. You can also find the audio for each and every single episode releasing Thursday mornings on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Player FM, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts. The video will be uploaded to YouTube later that same day. This episode, Second and 15 and Old City Sports Network are sponsored by Warlord Beard Oil. Head on over to warlordbeardoil.com and use promo code OLDSPORTS, all caps with the letter E at the end of old, for 15% off your beard oils, washes, soaps, apparel, and many other products for all of your beard care needs to keep it looking fresh and healthy. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping. Once again, thanks y'all for joining in. This is Second and 15, a Philadelphia Eagles fan podcast powered by Old City Sports Network. By this time next week, it'll be the first Eagles preseason game. Very exciting stuff, y'all. So we will see you all then. Don't forget to stay fly like an eagle. And as always, go Birds!